So in the past couple of days, a former Cowboy came out and said that the Cowboys should trade Dak Prescott. And yesterday, Nick Wright on First Things First, they discussed this situation and what they think about that. And so let's give this a listen.
Larger story is that the Cowboys legend Charles Haley says that Dallas should trade their franchise QB. I mean, it's actually complimentary.
It is yeah, he's saying that because they haven't paid him, they don't respect him enough, so just trade him. But go ahead, sorry.
I wrote react.
Okay, so
You put
this
a lot into that.
man.
Really working hard. Wow.
I think this actually would have been the move. The Cowboys are Wilds hates mimes, injustice, and half measures.
Yeah, not in that order.
And right now, the Cowboys are, in my opinion, operating under a half measure with Dak.
They're going to do a mime.
No, they're not miming with Dak. They're where they haven't paid him, but they're still seemingly committed to him.
Yes.
But they are clearly anxious about making him the highest, or even maybe second highest, but certainly the highest paid player in league history. And if you unwind this to before the draft, would the Pittsburgh Steelers have given you 3 first-round picks for Dak Prescott? I think so. I think that with you look at the Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson trades as somewhat of precedent. Would the Raiders have given you 3 first-round picks for Dak Prescott? I think so. Would your New England Patriots have given up the 3rd overall pick and something else to have stability at the quarterback position after being out in the wilderness? Maybe the Patriots just wanted a full reset, but but you understand what I'm saying.
I get it.
And the Cowboys then could have taken care of their other financial business with that draft compensation, gotten a rookie quarterback of their own, or spent this year, whether it's playing bruise guy Cooper Rush, or he's your guy. You were flirting with let Cooper keep the job a couple years ago.
Ever.
Check the tape, guys. You were flirting with it, or play Trey Lance, whatever it is, for a year while you figure out that if you're going to get on the rookie quarterback wage scale kind of cycle. But they didn't, Brew, even have the opportunity to consider that, because the original sin with Dallas is that first contract extension they gave him, they were afraid to give him. So they waited, and he got a no tag and a no trade, and now they are in this position where even if they are not fully in love with him, they're terrified of losing him for nothing, but they don't hold the ability to just, see what the market is for him. So now they're in this spot. But I think what Charles Haley is saying is actually smart, but the Cowboys didn't have the capability to even engage in those discussions.
Well,
So it sounds like, Nick Wright throwing out that idea that before the draft, the Cowboys could have, there's a scenario where they trade Dak Prescott away for 3 first-round picks, but of course he brings up that Dak Prescott does have a no-trade clause, so we would have to waive that no-trade clause to, have a trade like that go down. And I think if you're the Cowboys, if you were offered something like that and Dak was okay to go to whatever team was making that offer to the Dallas Cowboys, then I do think that's something the Cowboys would have to, sit there and consider for a long while. I almost bet they would take it, because if you look at where the Cowboys are right now, the fact that they haven't paid Dak Prescott at this point really makes me feel like they're going to just let him play out the final year of his contract. And while, if Dak Prescott has a really, really good year, let's say he takes the Cowboys farther in the playoffs, and that leads the Cowboys to believe that he can maybe take them where they've, been wanting to get back to for a long while, an NFC Championship, a Super Bowl. If he plays out the whole season, plays well, does something like that, gets to an NFC Championship, I think the Cowboys will be okay with paying him a ton of money. And then in that scenario, I think people go back and say, well, why didn't the Cowboys pay him a year prior? They could have gotten for a much better deal, because other quarterbacks, Jordan Love, Tua, are likely going to be paid soon. And so next offseason, there's no doubt that if Dak gets paid next offseason, the price is way up, especially considering they'll be bidding against tons of different teams in the NFL if he becomes a free agent. But just the fact that so far the Cowboys haven't given him a new deal, I think they're just willing to sit back and wait. They're willing to have to pay him more money next offseason than to, I think, have the Cowboys have a repeat season of last year, play well in the regular season, lose in the first round of the playoffs. I think if that were to happen, the Cowboys are fine to move on from Dak Prescott. And I don't think they want to, get tied up with another massive contract before they see something that would convince them that Dak can take them far in the playoffs. And I honestly don't think it's that bad of a move by the Cowboys to wait to this point. And as Nick Wright was saying, trading Dak for 3 first-round picks, honestly, if I was the Cowboys, I would probably do that if that had been an offer and Dak was okay going to whatever team made that offer, just because of, we've seen year after year after year, it's the same theme every single year. Cowboys are great in the regular season. Dak is great in the regular season. They go into the playoffs and they choke. And so I think that at some point you have to say, okay, we need to switch things up. Even though Dak allows the Cowboys to be really good in the regular season, I think that, at some point you have to move on. And I guess there is that risk that, he leaves and you have a new quarterback come in and you're not even competitive in the regular season. But I think at some point they're going to have to cut ties if Dak consistently can't get them far in the playoffs. And so it's going to be interesting to see sort of what goes down here with Dak and the Cowboys and if anything gets done before the season. I sort of feel like the Cowboys may just wait, but we'll see. And let's listen a little bit more here.
Assuming Haley means they should trade him before the season starts, that's not happening. All right, I see very little chance of that happening. In fact, what I think is far more likely is that Jerry caves and gives Dak the contract that he wants. All right, and I have felt all off season that they are saying, you know what, look at the 49ers. They got Mr. Irrelevant at quarterback. They're stacked everywhere else, and they keep beating us in the playoffs, and they got to the Super Bowl. And I thought they were saying, Dak, go out and get us at least to the NFC title game. And if you do, we'll bring you back. If not, we're going the Niners route. I'm not so sure now that that's what they're doing.
Okay.
I actually think this is just par for the course with Dallas, where they continually, every single negotiation, it seems, they wait too long. Remember when Dak, the talk was, should they give him $26 million a year? Is he worth that? And then they end up giving him 40 because they wait so long. Mm-hmm. And Ezekiel Elliott, it just happens time and time again.
Zeke, they actually paid too early. Zeke, they paid as
But my point is he held out.
Yes.
And then Jerry caves and gives him this huge deal. And that's what I think is going on. I'm actually starting to think, they still are committed to Dak. They just, are twiddling their thumbs like they usually do. What are they saying with CD? We want to let the
more leaves fall.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous, and it keeps costing them money.
Okay, so in this situation, as I said earlier, I don't think it's a bad idea for the Cowboys to hold off on paying Dak Prescott, because let's say they paid him right now, gave him $57 million per year, and then he plays out 2024, they lose in the first round of the playoffs. The Cowboys could be sitting there saying, oh man, should we have given Dak that much money? He lost in the playoffs once again early. Is it, what were we thinking? And so I don't think they want to be in that situation, and that's why I think they're waiting, which I don't think is the worst move ever, because at some point, if you don't have playoff success, I think the Cowboys need to try something else. And if he has success this season, okay, then I think they're willing to pay more than they would have to pay right now. I just don't think they want to have to pay him too early. So those are basically my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and if you want more NFL content, feel free to subscribe.